And we have gotten rid of corruption. We have eliminated theft. People who used to carry superiors in the streets have left the streets because the price of unga has come from 240, is now 160, 140, 120.
Is Kenya failing Ruto, or is Ruto failing Kenya?
I have a job to do. I told you, it's not always that you get an opportunity to be president. And it is my responsibility to make a difference.
If you asked President William Ruto what's wrong with Kenya today, he'd probably say Kenyans are the problem and not him.
It is very rare to get compliments from Kenyans.
According to him, the people he governs, especially the loud keyboard-wielding critics, simply don't get it. In fact, if you believe the president's own narrative, everything you have read about dysfunction, public frustration, and a growing dissent is pure fiction, written by a bitter opposition and performed by a cast of ungrateful citizens.
How will you argue? How will you argue with that?
Speaking in London during a diaspora town hall, Ruto painted a portrait of Kenya that looked suspiciously like the promised land, flowing not just with milk and honey, but also with headquarters of global giants. Lloyds of London, Bupa, and the European Bank for Reconstruction and Development, among others, have apparently chosen Nairobi over 5 other African nations for their continental bases. Why? Because in Ruto's telling, Kenya is the girl all suitors want, but only he can keep.
A couple of days ago, we have expanded that space. Just in this trip, when I came here, we have signed 5 companies that are moving their headquarters to Kenya. Lloyds of London, this afternoon, signed to open an office in Nairobi International Financial Center. The Africa office, for that matter. When I was in Spain 2 days ago, European Bank for Reconstruction and Development is opening their headquarters in Nairobi. Their, again, Africa headquarters in Nairobi. Bupa, Health International, today also signed, was it today? Yesterday, also signed to open their regional headquarters in Nairobi. Africa Finance Corporation, a huge continental corporation, is also opening their office in Nairobi. Africa's specialty risk also is opening their headquarters in Nairobi. 3 months ago, Teleperformance, the largest BPO company in the world, opened its headquarters at 2 Rivers in Nairobi. And I can count for you more companies and more companies and more companies. To tell you in simple language, Nairobi is becoming the financial hub of our continent. But if you read Standard newspaper, they will tell you companies are closing in Nairobi. And they will not tell you which ones.
According to Ruto, the world sees what Kenyans refuse to see, adding that even the president of the European Bank for Reconstruction and Development was so impressed by Kenya's human capital, democracy, and banking system that Nairobi outshone 6 other African contenders vying for the bank's regional base.
There are real companies, serious companies who assess Kenya for who we are. Let me give you one interesting piece of information. When I spoke to the president of the European European Bank of Reconstruction and Development, I asked her. No, she actually volunteered. She said, by the way, there were 6 countries that were candidates for them to open the Africa Regional Office. There were 6 of them. Nigeria, I don't know, she said which country, there were 6. But she said these countries were assessed and Kenya came on top. So I was curious. So I asked her, what were the reasons behind this? She said 3 things. Number 1, she said, you have the best human capital. You will get any type of expertise. If you want a financial advice, if you want a financial person, if you want somebody in tech, if you want somebody in this area, you will find them easily in Nairobi. And number 2, she said, you are a stable democracy. Yeah? You know what that you know what that means. You know? So that was why they want a place that is predictable. They don't want a place that tomorrow things can go haywire. And the third thing she said was your banking system, your ecosystem of financial services is good. And they are a bank and they want to operate from a place where transactions do not have too many corners. So there are real incentives on investing in Kenya.
However, as Ruto trumpets these international accolades abroad, back home he is grappling with a resistive population and eroding public trust. The very youths who propelled him to power have now become the face of fierce opposition. They accuse his administration of selective democracy, where dissent is met with abductions, torture, and in some chilling cases, extrajudicial killings.
Streets I'm here because I can do something about it. I'm here because I have nothing else to lose other than my miserable life. I don't have nothing to lose.
Critics say freedom of speech in Ruto's Kenya is alive, so long as it doesn't clash with State House interests.
The youth. And for the last year or so, there have been so many abductions. There's been freedom of expression, but not freedom after expression.
Then there is the investment environment Ruto so proudly sells to the world. On the ground, the narrative is far less glossy. In 2025 alone, punitive tax policies and tariff pressures forced several offshore firms to pack up and leave. Assets were repatriated and converted into US dollars as businesses sought safer havens. Even East Africa's tea giants British-owned Eastern Produce Kenya and Sri Lanka's Browns plantations have faced crippling land disputes and seizures that disrupted operations and froze production.
Our exchange rate, which was close to 165 for the last 14 months, our exchange rate is at 129, down from 165. What is the position of our dollar reserves? It's gone up from $6 billion as of last month. It was $11.8 billion, our dollar reserves. Because of the interventions we have made, to be able to achieve that, I tell you, we've had a fight, big fight, you know.
Yet, President Ruto insists these unpleasant changes are part of a grand design to rebuild Kenya's economy on stronger foundations. In his mind, Kenyans are blind to his genius and stubbornly unwilling to give credit where it is due.
By the end of the year, we will have paid something in the order of between 75 or 80 billion Kenya shillings for treatment. We're in that space. So you can meaningfully contribute to the progress of our nation by coming to be part of the professionals that are making Kenya work. You just heard that one of the companies, the reason why they decided to set up shop in Kenya is because they can find professionals like you. So when you are in Kenya, that is what makes us a destination of choice by serious international companies.
But as the president basks in foreign applause, the question burning back home refuses to die. Is Kenya really flowing with milk and honey, or are the fires of public anger too loud to ignore? What are your thoughts? Leave your thoughts on our comment section. That is it for now. Thanks for watching. Let's meet next time. Bye bye.